Thanks everyone for coming. We're going to get this thing started. We're going to have just two speakers. We're going to have the mayor. I'm going to call him up, and then we'll have city manager Rob Hernandez. We're here today to talk about the launch of the City of Savannah strategic plan called Savannah Forward. This is a key initiative identified by the mayor and alderman. And without further ado, Mayor DeLoach, can you come up? Thanks.
Good afternoon. It's a big day in the city of Savannah. I'm hoping that once we get done with this strategic plan, everybody says it's about as detailed as it was when Oglethorpe laid his plan out back in 1733. I ran on three things when I ran for office. One of them was crime, one of them was the work opportunity, and the third one was developing a strategic plan for the city of Savannah. We're here today to take that third issue and lay it to rest because we got Rob Hernandez and Liz Taschereau here who came here with the idea of a specific plan on developing what we feel like will be a long-term goal. But we can't develop a long-term goal without the help of the citizens. And those citizens are who we are talking to today. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Rob and let him have an introduction of the details of what we're trying to do and looking for a long-term process, okay?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon as we launch the Savannah Forward campaign. I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here. I also want to thank members of City Council. I've got Alderman John Hall to my right, and I also would like to thank members of city staff for being here as well. On this beautiful afternoon, in this beautiful public space, standing in the middle of this region's financial, cultural, and historic core, it's an appropriate time and place for me to say this. Savannah deserves a government as good as this community. Our government has done a good enough job during the years. Our financial condition is healthy. Our management of water resources is strong. We have one of the top-rated fire departments in the nation. But as your city manager, I'm here to tell you that our government is not near where it should be, and it is not prepared to meet the high expectations and aggressive goals that have been set forth by this mayor and the city council. So, in order for us to be able to meet those ambitious goals of this city council, it's apparent to us that we need to do something different. Now, this is not a knock on our 2,600 or so city employees who bust their tails every day in our community, the community that they live in and the community that they love. Many of them are the most skilled and most loyal public servants I have had the pleasure of meeting during my career in government. The problem is, for the most part, we don't have a clear strategic direction for this government as an organization, meaning the day-to-day organization, that closely aligns resources and their individual performance to the ultimate outcome. That's what Savannah Forward is hopefully going to address. So to solve this problem, we need to focus more on what is important to this community and do less of what is the least important to this community. For too long, we have tried to be everything to everyone. While city finances are well managed and strong, our current spending forecast does not match our planned revenues going into the near-term future. And as many of you know, during the fiscal year 17 budget process, we had to cut roughly $16 million of expenses out of the budget, and we essentially had to postpone all investments into our capital spending plan to deal with important community resources such as sidewalks, road paving, improving parks, and so forth. That process was a snapshot of our fiscal reality. We must begin to make some rather tough decisions and fundamentally change how the city government operates. We have to be more targeted and more focused in everything that we do. I share the same goal as the city manager, as the mayor, and the 8 city council members, and that is to make the city of Savannah the best mid-sized city in America. Sorry guys, I got a sore throat. I can't compete with that today. A city as great as Savannah deserves to be named among America's best places to open a business and to buy a home and raise a family, in addition to being named one of the best places in the country to visit. We can never get there, however, without a clear plan and a clear direction. So I am very proud to stand here today as your city manager, along with members of council and the mayor, and we're joined by Mayor Pro Tem Carol Bell as well. I'm very proud to announce the launch of Savannah Forward, our strategic planning process that will help shape Savannah's future for both the near term and the long term. Savannah Forward will act as a roadmap for this city, setting our priorities and focusing our resources for the future and on what matters. Savannah Forward, with your help, will clarify our goals and help us measure our success. To help develop Savannah Forward, we need our residents and business owners to tell us what matters most. And so for the next 8 weeks or so, members of the City Council will be actively working in the community to obtain input. And this young lady to my left, Ms. Elizabeth Taschereau, who is the city's Strategic Initiatives Manager, will be coordinating those meetings with members of City Council and with all of our communities throughout the city to get that vital input from all of our key stakeholders, our residents, our businesses, and our visitors. So she has organized a series of meetings throughout the month of May going into June that will give all of you, the public, that opportunity to share your concerns with the mayor and council. We need you, our citizens and business owners, to help us become the city that this community deserves. It's going to help us be a smarter government, a more focused government, and a government that is focused on results. So you can go to www.savannahga.gov/Savannah Forward to find out how you can get involved. And let me just say this. The City of Savannah, working with the mayor and city council, has one message, and that is we are one city heading in one direction, and that's forward. Thank you, and we'll see you all in May.
We're just open up for any questions. We got everybody here, including Liz Taschereau, who is running this program. Any questions?
Yeah. Are there any other cities that y'all are looking at as far as a guide?
Simple answer to that question is yes, absolutely. And we benchmark all the time with other communities, and Liz has done an extensive job benchmarking and researching other top leading cities throughout the United States and compiling their business plans, their strategic plans. And with that, we've also selected a consultant that's going to be working, guiding us through this process, and they've done outstanding strategic plans in top communities throughout this country.
And
How long ahead do you envision this plan looking?
So initially, the strategic plan is designed to identify some very measurable outcomes for a 5-year period, but it is also looking forward into a 20-year horizon.
y'all mentioned one city, one direction. Are y'all admitting that there's a definite difference between being a visitor here and living here?
Well, I think most people will agree that this is a very complicated city in that it is for example, where we're standing here, we are in a very urban environment that has a unique feel and particular issues and problems that are different than other areas of our city. So for example, Savannah Highlands is more of your traditional suburban communities. Their issues and needs are different than here. And then when you look at our communities that ring the downtown area, whether we're talking Ashley Park or going further down into Coffee Bluff and things like that, it's not as urban, but yet it is not as suburban as some of the other parts of our city. So I think you could say that following the city's growth pattern, that we've essentially have 3 mini cities with 3 unique identities. And so it's just important for us to remember that we're just one city and we all have to come together and have one common goal.
What kind of feedback do y'all anticipate getting from those folks?
Well, listen, I've only been here 6 months, and what I have learned here in this city is that folks here are not shy to share their opinion, and I'm hoping that folks will be as excited and forthcoming with their ideas on this particular initiative as they have in others.
I'm sure if you ask some people right now that they would say public crime is still their number one issue. How are y'all going to address that? Obviously, y'all are working towards other goals as well.
Sorry about that. So we know that in some areas of the city, the perception of public safety continues to be an issue. And then, of course, this mayor and city council have provided the appropriate resources to address that, and they've made it clear that they will continue to do that going into the future. But we want our citizens to reinforce that message as we go through this strategic planning process. And what does that mean to have a safe city? And so the outcome or the measure of success could be different for you as it is for me. It may be response time, it may be seeing more officers on the street, or it may just be feeling that you can walk from point A to point B, regardless of where you happen to be in this city, and feel safe in doing so. So we want to make sure that when we meet with all of our stakeholders, that they identify for us what's important. But again, they help us define how do they measure success. And that's going to help us understand when we reach that outcome or not.
What aspects of city life will this plan address, and how will it be different than previous plans the cities have?
Well, to be honest, listen, the city has plenty of plans and redevelopment plans and things of that nature. But from what I understand, we don't have a clear strategic plan. And the strategic plan is just one step in the process. The strategic plan, working with City Council, establishes the direction at the 30,000 foot level. The next step in that process then is developing individual business plans for all of our key business units that roll up into the strategic plan. And that's more tactical, more operational in nature. We don't have that here as an organization, and most leading cities in this country have that disciplined process in place because everything feeds off of that strategic plan. All of your budget decisions, your personnel decisions, how you measure an employee's performance, all of that is tied into the strategic plan. And if it isn't tied in, then we shouldn't be doing that anymore.
You mentioned
Did I answer your question?
You mentioned a lot of plans, though,
Yeah.
and some of those have come to a halt. Some of them have taken a different direction because of different elections. And so how do y'all ensure that if y'all are looking 20, 30 years down the road, that this plan is going to get carried out?
So I'm hoping that we're setting the foundation for something that this organization and most outstanding organizations have adopted this process going forward. And so our strategic planning process should not be tied to whoever is your city manager. It should not be tied to whoever the mayor is or whoever's sitting on the city council. It is a living document that should transcend whoever sits in those chairs.
But for the people who are sitting in the chairs now, I understand you're looking for public input.
Yeah.
Do you guys get to get your input in? What are some of the items that some of our leaders, like the mayor, or Mayor Pro Tem, or Mr. Hall, want to see in this plan? They've been here long enough to know what their vision is, just like any other citizen. What are some of those?
So let me just address the process, and then I'll turn it over to them. They can get into the specifics. So the first step in the process is for all of our elected officials to meet with the community and hear from them directly what's important from that community and what they would like to see put into our overall strategic direction. And then staff will also have the opportunity, once we hear back from the public and city council members, to go back and fill in those gaps, if you will. So from a general perspective, that's the overall process. And now I'll turn it over to the mayor and council members if they would like to give you some specifics as to what they think is important for us. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Hall.
What you got? Shoot. You good?
I was good.
You good? You good?
What's this
You good?
costing? Is it costing anything for the city?
It's free.
So there is a cost.
$140,000.
I think it's $140,000. $103,000. I'm sorry. That is the cost that we are experiencing as we engage the professional consultant in moving forward.
Alderman Hall, we haven't heard from you yet, and I saw based on that sign that you seem to be the first meeting on this. What are you hoping that this is going to be that might be different from a normal town hall meeting?
Well, this is something that we certainly hope to build on and hear from our constituents and hear what they have to say, and we will take it all in and we will put it together and see what works best for each individual area of the city because no two areas of the city is the same, and we will be listening to people as we go forward.
So are you the one who facilitates that one, or are you the only one who's going to be at that one, or will the other city members and everything?
Hopefully everyone on council will be there. I'm sure staff will be there to help facilitate that, and this will go smoothly.
Mr. Hall, I can answer.
Let me answer your question.
Okay, go on,
Okay.
Liz. Add to that.
All the district meetings will be facilitated by our strategic plan consultant, and so he will be the one interacting with all the community and only them. So that's the process, and we're going to keep it very simple. We want to hear from them. We want to hear what are their concerns or issues now and into the future in the next 2 to 5 years.
So once these meetings wrap up, then what we're doing?
Then all of the input and information will be, analyzed and put into information for the mayor and council members for them to, figure out what are the priorities for the city.
So back to your question. So you wanted to know, how do we as individual council members, what are some of our ideas? So speaking for Carol Bell as the mayor pro tem, but then I represent the entire city as well. So I would say as an individual council member, we are the voice of the people. So it's important, as my colleague stated, it's important that we hear the concerns of the citizens, the residents, in order for us, and take those comments and concerns into this process and make sure that whatever guideline or whatever planning is done reflects the desires of the people. I will also say, from our perspective as policymakers, it makes us much more responsive not only to the community if we have a product like this, but it also makes us better stewards of the city's coffers, because we are then spending your money to make sure that we actually make sure that we accomplish that you have said is important to you. So we are not just haphazardly buying properties and doing things based on a whim, but there's a plan, a very strategic, a very organized, and a very structured plan for us to expend resources.
When people show up at the meetings, how will their input be actually gathered? Will that be a process where they're writing out papers and dropping them in a box, or do they get 5 minutes to speak to the panel? How does it actually work?
The consultant facilitating the meeting will ask the questions, and we are going to have scribes so that we capture and document everything that is communicated. But we really want to keep it informal, and we just want to make it a nice environment for anybody in the community to come out, whether it's a resident or a business owner. We want it to be easy and just for them to speak and say what their concerns are.
Say I can't make it to the District 1 meeting, but District
Yes.
4 meeting, you don't have to be in that district to be at the meeting and share your input?
That's correct. You're welcome to come to any meeting, and we're also going to document which district you're coming from, because you may have a concern that doesn't apply to the district meeting that you're at. It's specific to your district or neighborhood or area.
So milk and cookies and refreshments, or
Do you want macadamia or something?
I'll go with the double chocolate chunk, but
If I can just make one statement, I think this kind of helps folks understand the process that we're going to be engaged in. And so I know that this isn't football season at the moment, but this is much like a football game, right? And so when you have a football team that shows up, your team wants to know, why are they taking the field? Are they there to win the Super Bowl, or are they there just to show up and play the game, or are they there to come in second place? And so when a team plays the game, the head coach usually has a game plan in mind to achieve that purpose, whether it's to get to the Super Bowl or to come into second place. And that's the same process that we're undergoing here. The city council has made it clear that they want to win the Super Bowl of Super Bowls for local government. And so this is going to be the development of that game plan to help us win the Super Bowl. The one thing that's different, though, Unlike a football team where it's the head coach that develops that game plan, and the fans have absolutely no input into that game plan, our fans, our customers, help define that game plan for us. And so that's the benefits of being in a responsive government and in a democracy, in that our citizens get to participate in this process.
Do other cities have a strategic plan like this?
Yes,
established?
yes. You can do research. I mean, great cities all across the country, city of Raleigh, Olathe, Kansas, El Paso, Texas, Coral Springs, Florida, just to name a few. You know, most of your leading organizations.
Any like cities you're looking at, like Charleston or any other cities that may
We have Liz has probably she's got a library of probably 200 strategic plans. But here's what's important: we're not going to copy what's been done somewhere else. We have to develop a game plan that's unique to Savannah, because every community is different. But as I said before, you know, each day we're competing with those outstanding cities that, you know, that I just mentioned. And each day those communities, because they are highly disciplined and highly focused, they get better each and every day. And so each day that we don't get better, we just fall further and further behind. And it makes it more difficult for us to be competitive on an economic development standpoint, because we're all competing for talent and we're all competing for resources.
When do you have to have it in place, and is it dependent on next year's budget?
Our goal is to have this process essentially finalized by the end of July, and that is absolutely going to help define our budget process for next year. Our budget will cascade from that strategic planning process.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good job. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good job. Good job.
Give them a flyer.
Too many people.